Yo, people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for All You Can Eat Chelsea back in the building. Do you know what I'm saying? Smash up the likes inside. I can see everybody in the chat. Cast and crew. Man to do the most. Miz and myself and Younes, we're all together. Tirelessly working, doing our due diligence to keep you guys informed. And we're 10th.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I saw your video earlier, Miz, as well, man. It's
Miz,
Speak.
you might need to move your
It's
mic
10.
a little bit again. You're getting that buzzing sound from Brentford. It must be nearby. Are they close to us in the
me.
table, Miz?
I'm hearing
Oh,
it.
it must be my fan again. Must be my fan. I'll turn that off.
It's Miz. He's got
There
that
we are,
buzzing.
it's Miz.
Listen,
It's
I'm
Miz.
giving me that Brentford vibe.
The bees are here. The bees are here.
We've lost control of West London, boys. What's going on?
It's chaos.
We're
It's
in
chaos, man.
West London, man. Fulham. You know, I had a nightmare that QPR got promoted the other night. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was problematic. It was very problematic, man. Let's get started.
You've just reminded me. It's just popped back into my head. Last night, I had a dream. I was crossing the road with someone, and I was telling them that Chelsea are bottom of the West London Premier League. No lie, honestly, it's just clicked. I had that last night. I was saying
mad.
Brentford and Fulham are ahead of us. We're bottom of the West London Premier League.
Yeah. Do you know what it is? Yeah, I've realized with this show as well. This show used to be just Chelsea community. And now there's some rivals. I see some rivals are starting to stop me on roads and they're like, oh, I love that All You Can Eat Chelsea. I'm like, who do you support? Arsenal? Man United? I said, all You Can Eat Chelsea, it's not for you, big man. Why are you watching? He said, well, I just enjoy the tears. I just enjoy listening to you guys just complain and cry. And this is where we come to be honest. So I don't know what we're gonna do with this show, but we're gonna have to toughen up, guys, because people are watching. Apparently, where do we start, man? I guess we start with the last performance briefly because there's a lot of other stuff to get into. So, I mean, what? Lord Jesus, I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say.
It's so difficult to even talk, isn't it? It's so difficult.
Talking is
to
long
even
right
talk.
now.
Yeah.
A moment's silence would be better. That's how I'd review that game. If I could have just sat there for the 10 minutes and just closed off the camera, I would have done so. Maybe I need to learn sign language or something.
You might have to do that tomorrow. Tomorrow, instead of just speaking, we'll just look at the camera for 10 minutes.
But you know what, Younes, with tomorrow, like I'm expecting a loss though. Like my expectation is already a loss. So I can't be upset because
we got
I'm
one expected loss.
Exactly. Expected Excel. We got the Excel back. Do you know what I mean? With Forest, it was different because I was genuinely thinking we should still win. And that's why it was such a sour taste. But with City, I think I'm going to be calm. Unless it's a calamity, like 5-0 drubbing or something like that.
We surely can't come away from this week against City with back-to-back L's because Potter this is now Potter, right? Because we last season and the season we don't have issue with every big team. We take our fair share of points and we don't get. This could be 1 point out of the first 9 at home against top 6 teams because we've drawn against Man United and we were shambolic, right? And then now we've got Man City and we've lost to Arsenal. We were shambolic. So if we're shambolic back to back against Man City, that's not acceptable. You can't just go into a Man City game and be like, well, we're not the favourites. They're better than us, so we're just going to lose and we'll move on to the next. Especially when you actually don't take advantage of the Nottingham Forest of this world. When you draw, feels like a loss. When you draw to Nottingham Forest, then you've got to claw back the point somewhere. And there is that baseline of dignity that we must maintain. You know what I mean? We can't just be out here just giving it away for everyone, just giving up points. Where's our decorum? Where's our class?
Do you know what, Matisse?
Where's our etiquette?
I'm not sure what is acceptable and what is not acceptable anymore. Like, I don't know what that definition means. Like, we want to be aggressive and say, oh, Chelsea's got some standards to maintain. And then you get certain parts of the fan base go, oh, you're too privileged. You're this, that, the other. You got to stay patient. We're going to go through more pain. And then when you go, look, I'm happy to stay patient. I'm happy to take some pain, this, that, the other. Then you get the other side of the fan base going, oh, these fans have gone soft. Like, I don't know what. Like,
I think there needs to be a medium ground. That's why the first part of the title is extremism, right? Because I don't know where you stand on it, Younes, but for me, it's not league position. There's got to be a baseline of expectation. You can't take the piss with league position. We were saying before we went on air.
Yeah.
You know, you can't be 15th, 16th, 14th. You can't even be where you are. At the end of the season, you need to be getting your ass back in the top 6. I expect minimum Europa League football. And the fact that I'm even saying Europa League football, no, that is I hate Europa League football. I'm not gonna lie to you. Apart from the song, when the song stops playing, I immediately get angry because there's nothing. It's not uphill from there. You know what I mean? It's dead. Luckily, we've gone into
and even the song has become a meme.
So, but you have to get yourself. You have to be in the top 6 at the end of the season. Some people are saying Victor's saying he'd rather finish 8th because then there's no Europe. Some people would actually finish outside of Europe because then they can go straight for the league the following season. I get that. The only reason why I'm not saying yes to that is because that's 8th, right? That's embarrassing, right? That's absolutely awful. That's tragic. So yeah, and then style of play, and then ruthlessness. These are my other 2 criteria personally that I'm looking at for the rest of the season. Are you selling players in this window that you don't rate, that you don't want? Are you ruthless? Because managers above you that have done well are ruthless, and managers that survive at the top game for a long time in their respective top clubs are ruthless. And when they don't get ruthless and they get complacent, they pay the price. And we've seen that this summer with Klopp and the midfield. So, and then the style of play, I need to see something consistent from one game to the next, because, you know, even when we play the same team, we don't even have those players operating in the same spaces, or we don't even see the same. We just don't see the same performance. It's just completely opposite, even though we have the same players out there and the same formation. So I don't know what you made of this, Younes, the last couple of days. What have you made of this whole Potter in, Potter out, shake it all about?
You've nailed it. This is the point. I'm all for, right, having to build, try and change the direction, go through a process, right? It's for the best. Absolutely. I'm completely on board with that. Those points you've made, though, is where it's key, where if you're riding a process, if you're trying to build and you're thinking long term, and you're not just looking at this season, you're looking at the next season and the season after and where we're going to be in 4 years, right? Completely the right way to do it. But you need to make sure that you're being led by someone you completely believe in the first place. And those points that you've made is where my worry is, because you've just listed all the managers that are at the top and they've got all of those attributes. They've got those 2 main things in terms of that ruthlessness, and you can see what they're trying to do from the get-go. Even when Klopp came into Liverpool and they were struggling, but you knew exactly what the blueprint was and what he was trying to do, right? On and off the pitch. And he had ruthlessness, and he had all the qualities that you could look at and go, you know what? I completely believe in you. Let's just go for it. Let's go for it. And then eventually he got rid of everything he needed to get rid of and got everyone that he wanted in, and boom. And even now, after all of their success, even now they're in a bit of a sticky situation. So it just goes to show that even with a long process, you're going to find bumps along the way. It's completely normal. But I don't get that from Potter. I don't know what he's after. I don't see that ruthlessness. I don't know what we're trying to do. I don't know how we're trying to play. It's completely baffling. And I understand the players there's a lot of them that are poor. There's a lot of them that don't have a great mentality. But there's nothing being done. That's the problem. Like, to ride through a complete process, I need to make sure that I completely believe in who is leading. And right now, I don't see enough. Now, can it change? Yes, there is a window. I feel like, where, especially during this transfer window, to maybe get something shifting. And then we can see. But just the character, just in terms of the individual in charge and how it's being run, I don't feel it. So I'm completely on board. I don't want to just, sack and hire. Think short term. That's just, we're thinking on this season. That's it. Like, no. I'm completely on board with the thought process. 100%. It's necessary. It needs to be done. But is Potter the guy? I'm not feeling it.
Do you know, like, I completely understand what you're saying, Younes. Like, and I'm in the same boat as well. Like, is Potter the right guy and whatnot. Like, I'm patient. I'm very patient. I can't imagine sacking another manager again, this, that, the other. I've seen how Potter operated in Brighton, so I know he's got a body of work that we can rely on. My sort of initial gripe of the current situation is, at least make us difficult to be beaten. Like, make us somewhat tough. Like, don't just let us bend over backwards for any team out there and allow for them to just easily beat us. Now, is that really a Potter issue? I'm not quite. This is where I've got a bit of a conundrum within myself, that I think there are certain players, boys, you know, in the likes of, let's say, Hakim Ziyech, Christian Pulisic, Kai Havertz, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, the players that have been around, even to the likes of Aubameyang. I'm starting to think now, it made sense when Thomas Tuchel was around. It kind of doesn't make sense. And looks like Potter doesn't really even fancy Aubameyang. It doesn't start for us. Sometimes he doesn't even get used as a bench player. I'm just thinking, are some of these players, they just need a change of scenery? Like, are they over it as well? Like, is it at a situation where maybe it's not Potter's fault anymore? He's come in and it was let's be honest, even under Tuchel, just before he got sacked, I think all of us kind of agreed, if Thomas Tuchel continued with that level of results, he was eventually going to get sacked anyway, because that's not sustainable.
That's the nature of the game.
Is Potter at a situation where he's just inherited a group of players that just can't give a damn anymore about this club? Like, that's where I'm a bit confused. Is it him that can't get the tune out of some of these players? And I wished he could make us a little bit more solid, but is it completely his fault? I'm not sure.
No, I wouldn't say completely. It's a matter of both, I feel. This is why I'm saying the players are to be blamed too. This isn't just the players are going to get away with all of this. Like, no. But in game, you can see within each game, you can see where the players are lacking. And we've said this not just recently. We've said this under Tuchel. We've said this under Lampard. We've said this even before, where there's some players, and even players that have now gone, but the players that are here, we all know in terms of whether it's their mentality or whether they're slow or whether they don't move correctly, whether they're not, consistent or calm in terms of the environment they're in. Are they happy? Are they not? There's multiple things that we know in terms of the players that are not about it at Chelsea at the moment. But in game, where you can see where there's multiple things that many people pick out during a game that Potter can do or can change, or whether things need to be done quicker or whatever. The transition that we see from a first half to a second half, for example, is baffling. True. How sometimes it's normally upwards. It tends to go downwards every single game now, the moment we're going to a second half. Why? And then nothing happens up until maybe the last 5-10 minutes. That's on Potter. So it's both. I reckon there's blame to be put for both. But as you said, right now, the person that's responsible, that has the key, is going to be the manager. And the truth of the matter is, no matter what, process or no process or whatever, results are results. It will get to a point. And I think I'm starting to believe that the owners, who they gave a 5-year contract, 60 million, I think they can afford that. Like, realistic, we're about to splash 127 million euros on Enzo Fernandez for a January window. I think if it came to it and results were going so bad, they can afford to pull the trigger if they want to.
But
probably wouldn't have given that contract.
They probably look incredibly stupid if they pull it. Though.
Yeah,
that's
100%.
They look like,
100%.
I'm not gonna lie to you. If they were to fire him, it's all well and good. Like I said on Gooni's channel, it's all well and good the fans saying sack him, because the fans were born in this environment. A lot of them. A lot of the fans were born in this environment of higher fire success now, and a lot of fans also know exactly what they want a manager to look like. And I have no problem with people having question marks over Potter in terms of not his coaching ability, because I think everybody has to pay respect to the fact that he's gone to Osterson's, he's gone to Brighton. Not talking about the level in terms of the pressure. I'm talking about the coaching of improving players and taking players from 10 million players to 8 million players, and actually showing that he can coach and he can put a style of play together. That is not questionable in my opinion. The questions are, can he deal with the big players? Can he deal with the pressure? Can he deal with the expectations? Can he stop? Is his tweaking and his changing of systems and formation to formation, is that going to work at the top level when you're looking for consistency and you're looking for all these things. These are the questions, and I have no problem with people asking these questions because, listen, he's never done it before, so of course we're gonna have questions. And when you look at him, his mannerisms, he's very calm. And sometimes people being calm can scare you, or it can encourage you. It depends on the situation. You know, him being calm after a win, him being calm after a defeat, he kind of gives you the same kind of level, the response. And I think a lot of Chelsea fans are used to more emotive managers, more, you know, Tuchels who give you not buzzwords, but they give some of those press conferences. Let's be real. At the beginning, you know, we were like, bloody hell, this is music to my
I don't
ears.
watch it, to be honest. I don't watch press conference anymore.
No, I don't watch press conference.
I swear, I don't watch it.
I don't have the time.
I just see some quotes.
I just look at the quotes.
Twitter, and then I move on.
And I type in my trusted FT accounts who take them quotes, and I take them and I move on with my day. I don't watch.
I don't even talk about the quotes, Matisse, on my preview. I don't even talk about it.
You go to Conte, Mourinho. You know, Chelsea got a history of, and Lampard, of course, as well, because Chelsea got a history of emotive managers. So Chelsea are not used to, you know, that kind of figure.
And even right now, it's all the top teams. Can I just say, all the top teams have that sort of manager. You can't, you need it with big personalities.
But maybe he'll grow into it. I think. Do you know what? Yeah, let's go through some super chats, and I'm going to say what I'm going to say here. Big up Younes for getting so annoyed with Potter that he missed last episode and went to Portugal himself to help negotiate for Enzo Fernandez because he wasn't on the last All You Can Eat Chelsea episode. I think that's what he's.
You're welcome, guys. You're welcome.
Potter is a waste man. Jesus Lord, very cutthroat there. Let me see what else is being said. Sorry, guys, that we're kind of just going off on our thought process here, and then I'm gonna go into that chat and go even more in depth with what you're saying. I don't want to miss any super chats. Here's Rebecca. She says, maybe unfair to demand consistent, attractive, rewarding football at this stage, but should see the team being competitive in a 90-minute game at the minimum. That's a very good point. I think that's true. I think by the end of the season, I want to see style. I want to see, you know, more consistency. But I think, what you're saying is a big problem, is the fact that we actually don't seem to give a shit for the whole 90 minutes. Against Arsenal, that was very apparent. You can't, in the last couple of years, you can't pull to many performances from this Chelsea team where you can say they don't care. You can point to performances where you say lack of quality, where you can say, not good enough in the finishing, or can't do that, can't do this. But you're not looking at the team and thinking, you guys don't really care, do you? It's only happened a handful of times. And that's probably more this season. Leeds, Southampton.
And on this really, really good super chat from Rebecca is that this is where I feel like Graham Potter can really impose himself. You know, he keeps picking these players, right, that he believes they're going to do a job for him, and consistently they don't seem to. And as I said, I personally feel there are certain players that just need a change of scenery. They probably feel sour being at Chelsea Football Club any longer. Why doesn't Graham Potter have the balls, basically, to pick players like Omari Hutchinson, give them a go? You never know. You could get some sort of a flair, some sort of charisma on that side, left side, right side, wherever you want to deploy him. You know, use Chukwuemeka in midfield, use Lewis Hall, just to sort of give that little bit of oomph, a little bit of spice that the team is lacking. Is he worried that if he was to drop a player like Sterling, let's just say for argument's sake, and bring in someone like Omari Hutchinson, is he worried that Sterling is gonna revolt? I personally think Sterling's probably one of those guys that spoke to Kieran Dyer saying that this is a massive difference.
I don't know. I don't know about them Kieran Dyer quotes. But
look, regardless, but basically what I'm trying to say is that, is he worried to drop some of these names? Is he actually worried that if I'm dropping him, I'm going to lose my entire dressing room? I mean, he's already losing points anyway. You might as well try.
This is the thing, because everyone's making the point of, oh no, he's not getting sacked. There's no way. They're backing him completely. Well, if that's the case, you've got the freedom to do exactly just that. You've got nothing to be worried about.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless if he is worried, and that first initial statement isn't true.
And people are not understanding. Some people, the reason why I bring up personality points, right, is not because I give a damn. I don't give a damn about his personality. I don't give a damn.
Yeah, maybe
but
not, to be honest.
I know Chelsea fans, some Chelsea fans do, and I know that in terms of swaying a fan base against you, your personality can sometimes save you. If you've got a personality,
especially the ones that go to the games.
Exactly. If you've got a personality, or if you've made some sort of connection with the fan base, they're going to be a lot more lenient on you, and they're going to have an emotional attachment to you. And that's what I'm saying. he hasn't built up an emotional attachment. So because he hasn't done that, the only thing he can do is win to buy your emotion, to give you the emotion. And because he's not winning, people, I think, are turning on the manager. Not me, because I'm very patient, but some people are turning on the manager a lot quicker than they usually would because of that lack of emotional connection, because they don't feel anything towards him. They don't look at him and think, they don't see anything. It's kind of very like bland and blank. But moving on to the football, because that's what is most important to me, like you're saying. Those substitutions for me is what guys, can we stop timing out people if it's not necessary? Or I'm gonna have to change up the mods. It's not necessary, guys. I haven't seen anything bad in that chat to be timed out so far.
The boss has spoken.
So let's get back to the football, because if you're gonna have all of that time on your contract, all of that patience, you should be able to be bold enough to make those big decisions. There's a lot of players in this team that look untouchable that are not. And I'm not talking about the starting 11, because a lot of us wanted consistency in the starting 11. We won the last game. We come into this game, starting 11 stays pretty much the same. I'm fine with that. People weren't executing their roles how I would like them to do in the starting 11. I don't think it's all the starting 11. I think it's actually the way people are playing in that formation, in that system, in terms of starting 11. But be brave enough to make the substitutions that are going to not only give yourself a chance in the game, but are also going to send shots to that first 11 that then are not performing. We should be seeing Amari Hutchinson. We should, in the next couple of weeks, because this guy, he's got talent. And he's something different. He's a little bit more carefree. He's a little bit more exactly what we need. He's a little bit more explosive. Get him onto the pitch, see what he can do, give him the opportunity. Don't use Gallagher in a pivot. That's a boneheaded, A-grade, terrible move. And that is like bare basics at this point. Obviously, he's new to it, but because we've seen it so often, because we've seen it earlier on in the season where Conor Gallagher was playing the pivot, everybody's fed up with this by this point. We all fed up. But he's still making his mistakes because maybe he doesn't know. But brother, please know, because this can't work. You know what? You're chasing the goal. You know what I mean? If you're actually ahead in a game and you're defending, I can get it a bit more. We're not dominating possession. You need someone to close down the half spaces. You need someone to cut off the passing lanes. You need him to go into double pivot West Brom mode. Fair enough. But when you're chasing the game and you're looking for the eye of the needle pass, and you're looking for control, and you're looking for someone that's press resistant, then that doesn't make sense to me. So we got to stop doing that. Ziyech, the cross came in. Aubameyang, he didn't want to get his fade messed up. I get it. It makes sense. But, let's what are we going to do with him? Do you know what I mean? We need to make decisions. Arteta sacked him off. Nketiah is looking better. Do you know what I mean? Now, what are we going to do? So, yeah, it's one of those things for me where he just needs to be very ruthless, man. He can't allow these players to drag him down. If he can't deal with the egos, which is a question, he can't deal with the big names, the egos, the politics. Perfect. Get rid of them. That's what Arteta did. Arteta couldn't deal with the politics. He couldn't deal with the egos. So he just got rid of all of them. You don't actually have to deal with them, especially if you're getting backed. You're not Ancelotti. You haven't got any experience. I get it. I'm not expecting you to just magically be able to control some of these players who are, let's be real, then they don't really give a damn, some of them. So just get them gone. And I'm not saying all of them need to go in January, but in the summer, if they're not all dispatched of like an Amazon package, I swear to God, if I have to see Aubameyang next season in this team, I'm a flip. I'm gonna be bloodfire. I'm gonna be Obama bloodfire. Do you know what I'm saying? It's gonna kick off. So, Younes, who is left that is ideal to replace Potts? I mean, that's a question for you.
I mean, yeah, in terms of managers that are available right now, that's all we can really think of. If it were to happen, the three that come to mind is, ironically, Poch, Luis Enrique, Zidane. Zidane's not going to happen. I think he's waiting for the French job. That's basically it, I think.
For me, it's not even available. For me, it's not even a conversation. I'm not going to lie. For me, it's not. For others, fair play, have the convo. Everybody's entitled to have their different debates. For me, I'm not even going through it. The shortlist, because it's not a convo. For me, we have all the questions, but we need the answers. The only way we're going to get the answers is actually by giving him the time. I don't think it's fair, especially when the team is so shit. Like, let's be real, we don't like this team. There's a few players that we like, but most of this team, if people could have it their way, they would be like, bro, move him. Do you know what I mean? Just move him. I think Sterling is actually suffering and being dragged down to our level. He was really poor last game. One game he got man of the match. But when you look at who he was surrounded by central attacking midfielder Zakaria in the half spaces, who's playing the Odegaard, Kevin De Bruyne position, and Aspilicueta. So I'm not surprised that he suffered. So
this is what we said though, Matisse. Remember when we got Sterling, worried that he could drop down to our levels as opposed to elevating us to his level.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think Sterling is, but we kind of always knew this would happen if we didn't get maybe the other wing, or we didn't get the right back to replace James and move Aspilicueta on and be ruthless. We wasn't ruthless with Aspilicueta. And maybe that's because we brought in so many players and we wanted someone to show them, you know, the Chelsea way and to keep it consistent in the training field and to show them where to buy their houses and to keep the shirt tucked in. I get all of the intangibles, but at the end of the day on the football pitch, he can't be starting. He can't. He dropped off last season to a level where you just know the following season you need a better replacement. And everybody knew he was going to get game time, especially if we moved to a back four. And even in the wing back position, we were moving like Loftus-Cheek and all these other guys. So it wasn't even like we had a serious, you know, right wing back in terms of positionally. This is actually where you play. So yeah, I think in terms of, you know, players that we can keep, there are players there. I don't even think we've signed bad players, to be honest, in the last window. But I do think outside of the Aubameyang one, I really didn't want that one. But I do think we're starting to see the same imbalance, the same flaws that the team have that we didn't address in the midfield, because that is where a massive part of this comes from for me. The midfield were missing last match, and the midfield is everything. It's the middle of the team. It helps protect the defense. It helps create the chances. We didn't create any chances, and we didn't protect the defense. The defense were all over the place, and that's because of some players like Aspilicueta. Koulibaly's been awful, but also we didn't create any chances until Ziyech maybe came on with that cross. So, you know, we're kind of all over the place. Anything you guys want to get off your chest before we move on to Todd Boehly's crackhead ways?
I think hopefully with the Enzo Fernandez transfer coming in, I'm hoping there's going to be a distinct change in midfield with his inclusion there. Hopefully that will somewhat solve some sort of our deficiency in that area when it comes to more progressive pass, more punchy passes through the middle, more passes in between the lines. But the issues will still be there. We may be able to pull off those passes because Enzo has that in his locker. But do we have the attackers that have the technical ability to take the ball, you know, in first time touch and actually control and put those chances away? Are we going to have players that are going to make right decisions in the final third? Are we going to have players when they do get that ball in behind defense that they'll run up and actually finish the job off? So I'm somewhat worried that Enzo will come and he'll do his job, but he may start getting frustrated because some of the players up front might be incapable of finishing off. Like, this isn't Argentina, my man, Enzo Fernandez. This isn't Julian Alvarez up front. This isn't Messi to look up to. This is, you know, Christian Pulisic, Kai Havertz. Like, this is tough days, man. You're going to have to pray that these brothers, you know, put those chances away. So this is why I'm very excited with Enzo Fernandez, but I really wanted, you know, at least another right back so that there's some support there. There's some conversations happening that we're not even prioritizing right back in this January window, which is mad for me. Shocking, absolutely shocking and disgusting that we're not even prioritizing, like as if Aspilicueta is still a legitimate option. And then I was hoping that we were going to get another attacker and get rid of maybe the ones that Potter doesn't fancy too much. You know, whether it be Ziyech, whether it be Pulisic, whether it be whoever, get rid of one and bring in someone new, like someone that you can totally rely on. And it is still a little bit scary that potentially that might not happen. So
I think Enzo, we are live. We are for the question. I think Enzo, he's a great player. He's gonna bring the vision. He's gonna bring the passing range. He's gonna be able to bring those things and a bit of grit into midfield. But it's not going to solve the midfield completely because he's not a DM. And my biggest issue at the moment is that Zakaria, he's been playing alongside Jorginho, which means Jorginho holds the responsibility of being deeper than him, which means we don't know if Zakaria is going to be the DM in the team if he was to start on his own. I would like to see if Zakaria can just be the base level DM to protect, because Jorginho was getting done on transitions. Zakaria should have been, for me, a lot deeper to help him out on those transitions, but he was floating in half spaces. Mason Mount was poor. And it's funny, when we win, people get their praise. When we lose, it's never their fault. It's a collective. And he went missing. Outside of the goal, where I felt like he actually did what I wanted him to do, which was drop into the midfield, pick it up off the centre-back. Silva many times had that passing lane open, but he was making Mbappe runs. And I was like, is this an instruction? Why is he making Mbappe runs? Why is he running off the ball, trying to get in behind over the top? Why is he doing that? That should be Kai Havertz. He's the striker. Why is Mason Mount not coming deeper, receiving the ball, and then turning and playing it through the lines? So because I'm listening to certain, I'm listening to certain man's reviews. I'm not going to give them the airtime because I don't like this individual, but I'm listening to certain reviews, and it's like, no, Mason, no one's progressing the ball to Mason Mount. No one's progressing. Yes, Jorginho was poor. Zakaria was awful. Well, Zakaria was okay, but he was poor. Should he also not be progressing? Why can't he come deep? I want him to come deep. Come deep and progress the ball too. You can do that. That's literally one of your strengths. Come deep and progress the ball. Why is he running? Why is he running away from the possession? Why is he running away from the build-up play? Why is he waiting for someone to progress the ball to him? You come and progress it. You come and progress it. Because when he did that, he progressed it into Pulisic, and that's where we got the goal from. That's where he got the goal from. I don't know if it's instruction. I don't know what's going on, but the development needs to be better for him. The coaching they need to really talk to him and seriously keep him on track, because he's not even, he's not even developing. It's kind of like stagnating or regressing. It's not consistent anymore. It's very, and I know it's because, yes, the midfield, we have issues in there. We need to get the DM 100%. But as an individual, I still want to be able to walk away from a game. If you're meant to be untouchable, because there is, for me, no untouchable players in this team outside of Silva and maybe James right now. If you're going to be untouchable, I need to be able to look at your performance and be like, you were really, really good and you were let down by everybody else. That's not the case. That is not the case. As much as people want to paint that picture, that is not the case. If you can see when someone's had a great performance like a Silva, and yeah, they've had a great performance and everybody else has let them down. That is very apparent. We can all see what's going on. If you haven't had a good performance, you're in there with the rest of them. And I don't want people, we're 10th. Everybody can be humble. There's nobody that sits among us as generationals. There's nobody that sits among us as elite level talents and they're just being held back by everybody else. No. Humble yourselves. You're all in 10th together. You're all in 10th. You all haven't been good enough this season. You're all underperforming to the standards that you're meant to be. So you can all just sit there and amongst yourselves figure that shit out. Nobody is God among us. It doesn't exist. There's nobody that's blameless. It doesn't exist. Nobody has been consistent outside of, you can say maybe Silva, Trevor Chalobah before the World Cup was really good for us. Maybe Reece James when he's fit. Kep has had a good season, you could say. But nah, don't take the piss now. Do you know what I mean? Let's be very, very serious here. And I would like to see a little bit more competition in these places and not, like I said, thinking that they're bona fide starters, like I said on Goonies channel, and kind of bringing in rotational options. I know Gallagher deserved to be here in terms of form, but in terms of ability, Mason Mount for me is clear of what I've seen of Gallagher so far. Just technically, I think he's clear. So for me, you need to bring in people that are better than the Kai Havertz, the Masons, the starters. This is why I don't actually go in on the starters too much, and I go in on the Rubens, and I go in on the Ziyech's, and I go in on the Gallaghers, because I think these people, they're not good enough for me. They need to be sold. They need to be sold. They need to be cut ties with. They need to go and play in systems that suit them. They need to be going and playing first team football and be committed to the cause. And we need to take away the emotional attachment that we have for these Rubens, for these Gallaghers. We need to remove them. We need to make the starters become a little bit more competitive, a little bit more rotational, a little bit more afraid for their position, feel like they actually have a threat, and bring in quality players on top of these bona fide starters. And of course, on top of that, you're bringing in young players, the Andre Santoses, etc., and they should hopefully be high potential players. But I think the starters are starting under both managers because clearly they're better than the bench players, or at least they're training better or something. Because I'm not going to sit here and pretend like as if these players that we should give a chance to are going to give us consistency, because I know they're not. I know they're not going to give us consistency. They might give us a good game here and there, but they're not going to give us consistency. So I don't think right now we're not getting consistency from anywhere. So we may as well try and change the narrative and try and change the way this squad is perceived. Nobody deserves to be untouchable right now. It doesn't matter what you've done 2-3 years ago on a lovely night in Porto. We're talking about today, right now. Are you regressing? Are you progressing? Are you improving? Do you need better coaching? Do you need to change position? Do you need to actually be rotational and come in and out of the team? What do you need to get better? It's not, oh, he's got limitations. Oh, Jorginho's too slow, but Loftus-Cheek is perfect and he'll solve our problems. No. Loftus-Cheek has limitations too. Loftus-Cheek is a great ball carrier, but his passing is not that great. So if you're going to talk about weaknesses for the players that you don't really like, let's talk about the players that you do like. Let's talk about the players you do like. And then when we get out of this stand culture and this favoritism and all this shit, then we can actually move forward and say, you know what? Cool. Now we know weakness is there. Weakness is there. Mason Mount this last year, lack of composure. Kai Havertz, lack of finishing. Christian Pulisic, not clinical enough. Raheem Sterling needs to be stronger on the ball. Jorginho, not quick enough. We need to get a new DM. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, what is your position? We keep moving you around. Are you a new James Milner? Are you going to be somebody that we can actually rely on and that's a bona fide starter? If you're not a starter and you're not going to be giving us enough competition, then are we going to have to move you on so we can create passing lanes and space for your Andre Santos, for your Carney, for your Charlie Webster, who's probably going to leave on a free? Because when we talk about blocking youth, it's not just about some of the players that we don't want blocking youth. It's also some of the players that we like. I love Loftus-Cheek, but is he blocking youth? Why is nobody having that conversation? Is he blocking the path for a Carney? I know he's not been playing recently, but I'm just talking about in general. Is he blocking the pathway? If he is, and he's not good enough to start, then he has to be up for question marks. Do we need to move him out? Because we want to see the Lewis Halls. It's not 2014 anymore. We have new young players that are coming through that are high potential players. So we need to see them. Are they going to be potential starters in the future? So it's uncomfortable conversations, but it needs to be said. If people are blocking pathways, and you got to start being ruthless with the team, because I've seen a lot of these players here for far too long, and we're not getting any better. We're getting worse, and then now people are going to go to the manager. You can't have it. You can't have it everywhere. You can't have your cake and eat it. It's either the players, we need to move on. So actually do it then, move them, or is it the manager? But personally, I'm going to go along with moving the players first, because the players have been here longer. Yeah, brother, long. Why are the fan base obsessed with Cobham grads? Most are good, but not technically elite. Transfer ban changed our fan culture for the worse. For me, it depends on the player. It's subjective to the player. I think Conor Gallagher, personally, I think he is not showing enough, in terms of, yes, he can cross the ball. Yes, he can shoot. He can run, counter press. But in terms of as a midfielder, from what I would like, because again, I don't want, and we have so many players like this who can do some things but can't do others. Yeah. So you can't drop into the first phase and pick up the ball and be press resistant. But you can press, but you can shoot. We need players that can do everything. No more limitations. If you can't do everything, then you're up for question, unless you're going to develop to do everything. Because otherwise, if you can't do everything, then we have to be very limited in the system we play. We have to play a certain way. We have to play a certain system. We can't be adaptable. We can't be flexible, which is what Potter seems to be wanting to do, because he's always had a track record of changing formation, changing the way the system looks, etc. But if you have limited players, then you have to cater to their needs. And that's what we've been doing for years. We've been catering to players' needs. Oh, we have this striker who can't hold up the ball, but can run in behind, but can't shoot, but can't dribble, but can do this. So we have to do this. But then it doesn't suit this guy because he can't run, or he can pass, but he can't. Brother, just get people that can do everything. Big man, just get people that can do everything. When you go into the Man City and Arsenal team right now, when you go to Partey, when you go to Rodri, they can do everything. When you go to Kevin De Bruyne, he can do everything. Just get players that can do everything. Simple.
This is the point. It goes back to earlier on in terms of the whole starters, non-starter debate, where you have the players that are not starting that are not good enough, and clearly that's pretty evident. But even the ones that are starting, that if we had those players that do have everything, would those players that are starting now be starting? Probably not. So it's going to be, when you're looking at the attributes, you're looking at some of these players that are just being given free will to just walk into the starting 11. They probably know they're not being moved week in, week out. It's not consistent enough, and they're not showing exactly what they need to show. If we're going to talk about like a Kai, for example, up top, or we're going to talk about a Mason Mount, right? When you look at Arsenal, you look at the way that Odegaard moves, it's outrageous. We look at the way Xhaka moves, it's outrageous. But they're everywhere, and they don't stop, and they're always moving into spaces. They're always there for each other. They're always linking up. They're never distant. They're never moving away from the ball, like you pointed, Matisse. Great point, because it happens way too much with a lot of our players. It just disappear, right? No, make yourself available. The amount of times we have holes just in that midfield, and even the front line are just there they're just waiting, which is why it's laughable. I heard the rumor about us trying to find a what was it, a penalty box specialist. Basically, you want a striker. That's what it's always been called, right? Like, what are we doing? Do you know what I mean? No matter who's up there, they're probably just going to be waiting for the ball to arrive. That's just the reality of the situation. But when you're looking at a Mount, for example, it's funny where we have players that we constantly go on about that can press, that have energy. Where's the energy in midfield to make yourself available, to move into space, to be constantly moving, to be constantly in different spaces, to make yourself available for various teammates at various parts in the game? So you're just moving away. But when it comes to trying to defend and win the ball, well, there's loads of energy to just press. That's not good enough. Do you know what I mean? There's loads little, when you look at Odegaard and Xhaka and Partey, they're constantly moving and they're constantly available and they're constantly getting into spaces and they're constantly picking each other out. It's crazy how we've got players that are starting that don't have, well, you make a good point, Matisse, whether they don't have that ability or they have that ability, but they're being told to do something else. That's a different conversation. And we need to try and figure that out, because then you can point things more to the players or to the manager. But it's a problem. It's a problem. So
do you know what? Going back to that point about pressing as well, like people are so caught up, oh, he can press, they can do this.
Like
people need to start
yesterday.
People need to start realizing pressing on your own ain't gonna take you nowhere if the rest of the team are not pressing with you. You're only gonna look foolish. You're only gonna look like a headless chicken running around being chaotic. So this is the thing that I hate, when people single out a particular, but they press well. Who cares if they press well if the other 9 players are not following suit? Like, you're gonna look stupid. And I've said it recently as well, man, on my channel, that far too many of our players, we consistently, the conversations about, oh, but they can't do this, they can't do that. And we're acceptable about it. As Matisse said, we need all-rounded players, man. Like, other teams have all-rounded players. Look at Odegaard. We don't have a single player that has the creativity of his quality. But you know what else Odegaard has? Work rate. Like, it's not just the creativity. Without the ball, the guy is tracking back, tackling.
Exactly.
He's ruthless. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So forget about the creativity part. Like, he gives you all the other stuff that you desire off the ball. Have a look at Almiron yesterday. The way he was always consistently protecting Kieran Trippier. How many of our wingers can we say that are always up and down, box to box? Do you know what I mean? Not many, man. Almiron has the class up front with the ball. He's buzzing. He's always zippy. And as soon as Newcastle loses the ball, the brother is pumping backwards to help out. It comes from... This is the thing, though. Like, it also comes from the manager. This is where the manager has to sit down. Do you know? Let's look at it from a basic point of view. Like, when you guys, Matisse, when you worked ages ago, before YouTube took over your world, right? Yeah. And Younes, I'm pretty sure, like, right now you're working as well. When you got a new manager coming into an organization, right? A brand new manager coming into an organization, the first thing they do is they talk to the people that report to them. Do you know what I mean? They get to know them. Like, what's your ambition? Where do you want to be? Do you even want to be here? Are you happy to be here? I just wonder, has he had that assessment done? Because obviously he's been around for a little while. By now, Graham Potter would have known, I don't think this guy really wants to be at Chelsea. I
100%.
think this guy wants to be at Chelsea. I think this guy buzzes to wake up to play for Chelsea. I think this guy's only there for the money. I think this guy's only there for his mates. I think this guy really wants to win silverware at this football club. By now, he would have figured out who wants to do what. And this is what I want to see translate into the lineup. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you are sensing there are certain players that are not going to give you what you desire as a manager, and from the roles that you are putting out there in the field, start binning them, man. Start binning them. Put them aside. Tell their agents, my man, find your player another club, because life is not so pretty for him at Chelsea Football Club.
Yeah.
Because it's only going to be detrimental for him. The more he keeps using them, the more matches we're going to lose. And eventually, who's going to be in trouble? Not the player. It's going to be him.
But this is why he needs to be brave enough to use... I mean, he needs to be brave enough to use some of those young players that we spoke about. But obviously, he's looking at the politics of it. And is people going to start kicking off? Are reports going to start dropping? And the Athletic and whatnot, players are going to start coming and doing interviews. Who knows? I don't know anymore. Books are going to get written. For me, the one of the main issues is in that midfield. Like I said, we need that midfield changed up. I'm looking forward to Enzo coming in, but the midfield still needs a DM. I think we're very weak. We're a very weak team, man. Very, very weak. Easily bullied. I've seen us bullied 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times this season. Arsenal bullied us. Bullied in the last game as well. We're bullied often. We're very weak. We're weak-minded and we're weak on the pitch. Often. Very, very often. We don't score from set pieces anymore. We don't defend set pieces that great either. We're very, very weak. Anytime somebody shows a little bit of physicality, a little bit of speed, we shit ourselves. We absolutely shit ourselves. And even on the ball, when we had possession in the first half, when we were winning, we moved the ball too slowly. We moved the ball too slowly. It's too passive. It's too slow. But we've been saying this for years. If you're going to move the ball quickly, you need to have players that are a little bit more quick-minded, but also technically, but also physically. Because you can't move the ball quickly and play those more dangerous passes and be a little bit more risk-averse if you know that if you give that ball away, you are screwed. And we got right now our best player is 37-year-old Thiago Silva, who we're giving the ball to overly. We're just feeding the ball into him. He's got the most touches. He's got the most progressive passes. He's like the creator in the team.
Yeah, it's
our
like
creator,
a playmaker.
Bro, he's our playmaker. Our playmaker is our centre back. We know Jorginho. If you don't have, I mean, even if you have someone next to him, if you don't, you know that on transition it's a long day. He got cut up on transition. Azpilicueta, we got too many players that are not actually equipped and built for Premier League football. Too many slow players now. We got too many slow players that are physically too weak to be in the Premier League. The Premier League is still, yes, it's technical, but it's still a very physical league. It's a very quick league. Kyle Walker, De Bruyne, Rodri. These are quick box to box athletic players. You need to have athleticism in the team. We need to get the team back into in a situation where you don't sacrifice technical ability for physicality. Never, not in my opinion. But you do need to actually have a physical enough team that can deal with any trials and tribulations. If we're going through a 10, 20, 30-minute period of the game where we're not competing and we're not dominating, which every team goes through, then you need to be able to compete on a physical level. And we can't do that. The basics, exactly, the pure basics. And if we can do that, and if we can start to move the ball quicker, this is why I would prefer to get the midfielders in before the Nkukus, before the attackers. I've got PTSD with the attack. But Sterling, I don't think, is a horrible player. I still don't think Pulisic is a horrible player. I don't think any of these guys are horrible players, but they're suffering because of their own limitations in their game, but also because of the way we play. We consistently do not create chances often enough. We just don't. Last game, we didn't create any chances. Last game, I think we had one shot in the second half when we were needing to score more, when we were needing to shoot more, when we were needing to attack. We couldn't do it. So there's a lot of fundamental issues. There's fundamental problems. And it is due to people being limited. And yes, not everybody, I think some people were saying in the chat, 100%, not everybody can be limitless. Not everybody can be complete. But my thing is that we have too many players that are limited. If you have less limited players, then I think the ones that are limited will be fine because they could just fit into a system and do what they do best and thrive. But in key areas, there are very limited players, and you can't have the midfield in particular needs to be a bit way more well-rounded than it is. Way more. It has to be. Tony says we need to go back to the basics. This team is the least physical in the league. Spot on. I didn't even read that as we was going on that little physical rant. But yeah, man, listen, you're literally spot on. The team's way too weak. Luis Garcia says, doesn't anyone here think we're actually wasting time and years with Potter? Can this guy really win a Premier League and a Champions League against the elite managers? I get this, but Arteta for me is not an elite manager. But look at him. Look what's happened. Man's top of the table. So I don't know. Listen, I'm not even asking Potter. Listen, I get your point. I don't think any of us are even asking Potter to win the Premier League. If Potter can get us halfway there and progress us into that next stage, and then you get, say, if he can't get us over the line in 2-3 years' time, but we've won a few cups and we're much more well-rounded as a team, and we're actually playing good football and we're ready for the next stage, then you go and bring in an elite winner who plays the similar brand of football, and then you kick on and win it. I'm not saying he has to go the whole length of it and go right to the tippity top, but he does need to get us out of this hiring and sacking phase. He does need to bring us out of the imbalance in the team. He does need to make those decisions because his contract is too long not to make those decisions. He needs to be ruthless. He needs to get us out of this run that we've been in for 3, 4, 5 years in the Prem. What are your thoughts on Mudryk, guys? I haven't touched on Mudryk. It's criminal. We're going for Mudryk.
Do you know what? Just on the player, I've seen some of his footage in recent times, some of the matches for Shakhtar as well. Like, he seems like a top quality player. If Arsenal get him, Arsenal, like, they're already very good. And if they can bring in someone like Mudryk off the bench, I think that would have been a difference maker against Newcastle yesterday. Yeah, the bench is obviously the depth is not there. Their starting lineup is fantastic, but after that, that's where they struggle. They get someone like Mudryk. I think we gotta, if we're not taking them seriously now, we gotta start taking them seriously even more. In regards to links with us, I can't see how this happens, man. Like, this player has twerked for Arsenal publicly that he wants them. Arsenal have made it public that they want him. How we should be shameless. How can we just go in there and take someone else's girl like that? Do you know what I mean? Like, have some respect, man. I mean, this particular player only seems to want them. I don't know. Is this a mechanism? He's
literally watching their games. His Instagram stories are covered. His
Instagram stories covering all of this stuff. Like, this is, I don't know whether this is healthy as well. Like, another player that potentially doesn't. I know at the end of the day, if we do get him, he's going to be professional, this, that, the other. I get it, but this is too public.
I don't know if he's desperate to leave. I mean, I know he wants to join Arsenal because of they're top of the league. I don't know if he supports Arsenal or anything like that.
I think he does, Matisse. I think he does.
We've had. Do you know what? Yeah, we've had Cesc Fabregas's tell us that they love Arsenal before they play for us, and then they come to us and they do a madness. We've had Lukaku's come in here and say, "I bleed Chelsea. I want to play at Stamford Bridge. My child supports Chelsea. I have pictures of Chelsea on my wall. Since before I was even in the womb, before I was even formed as a sperm, I wanted to be for Chelsea, only Chelsea." And he comes here and he chats shit and he doesn't do anything. So I'm not even buying what players say anymore. I'm not even buying it.
I'm on that same
you just can't predict it. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you have Aubameyang, that was kind of obvious. I'm not gonna lie. That brother is just he leaves all of his cards on the table, man. He just comes in, dancing into the dressing room, just, you know what I mean?
Hey, he only came in for Tuchel,
Travis Scott.
Honestly, he only came in for Tuchel, it seems like. And now I kind of get the vibe from Aubameyang that he's just moving with he's just flowing with the wind now. Like, I don't think he really wants to be. But yeah, come back to the Mudryk point. I don't know, man. Just a bit too public. Like, this is why players should just keep their mouth shut about who you love and who you don't, and Instagram stories, this, that, the other. Just keep your mouth shut. For me, it's all a bit too public. Maybe it's a mechanism to push Arsenal to give Shakhtar what they want. I think that's probably what it is. But if it happens, I'm all up for Mudryk. I think he's a fantastic player. If he actually happens for Chelsea Football Club, I'm all down for this. And I hope he can give the best for Chelsea Football Club. So yeah.
We got to be real as well with the money that's involved, because there was news this morning that Shakhtar are prepared to reject Arsenal's bid of like over 60 million, and Chelsea are willing to outbid whatever Arsenal put on the table. Now, we know at first we thought these links were just a smokescreen. Maybe it's the agent pushing for Arsenal to move quicker or whatnot. But we know that this is actually Chelsea interested. Like, we're not interested. We are actually trying to move from Mudryk if it's available, if it can be done. It's going to cost a lot of money though, man. I don't see how with FFP we actually this is feasible. Is all this feasible? If we get Enzo, we get Mudryk, we spend all this money. Is that we're going to get fined? Surely we're going to get punished on some sort of level, aren't we?
Do you know what, Younes? There was a recent tweet about this FFP, the new rules and whatnot, and I did a little bit of studies. This particular financial year that's going on, this is the last year where you can still rely on COVID, like how you can say, due to COVID, these are the losses that we've incurred, and so on. So I think this is why Boehly is trying to pump in as many new players to come in now and create that, show that loss and claim it under that whole COVID situation. We didn't make enough revenue under COVID.
Yeah.
And obviously the sanctions and the new ownership, the club didn't make enough. Moving forward, however, I don't think Boehly is going to splash out like this, because there's going to be restrictions. I think from next season, 90% of your revenue, not your profit, revenue. So if Chelsea's revenue is in the hundreds of millions, 90% of that. The following year after that, 80% of that. And I think by the time 2025, 26, it's going to be 70%. So I think he's trying his level best to just bring in everyone now, all these young players, because moving forward in the transfer windows, we're not going to see that many activities.
Yeah, and all the reports back that up. Reports saying that Chelsea could be just as busy as they were in the summer in this window, as we continue to obviously pursue Mudryk, and willing to blow rivals out of the water if necessary for Mudryk. A little bit violent.
Matisse, you know what's funny though, bro? That we don't think the right back is a priority. Like we're willing to blow everything apart for every position, but we believe in Azpilicueta to be the backup for Reece James.
Brother,
and this leads to tomorrow in terms of Man City. Look, we know Aspie's going to be playing at right back, don't we? When realistically,
or maybe three at the back, Younes. Maybe three at the back. I don't know.
Possibly.
Need a right back.
If we went to a right back, at least temporarily, I've seen a few say this, and you know what? I think it's all we have. Is to stick Trev there.
Yeah,
I've said that as well. Just put Trev there.
This is the thing. We
use him as a Ben White, and
can he not play like? Can he not play right back?
He can.
If
he has,
he
plays
like
RCB.
Ben White, maybe.
He's fast as well. He can play there.
He's not going to be great going forward in terms of like crossing or anything. So that means you're going to need to. Again, Ian Maatsen would have been perfect for this. I don't think Cucurella is perfect for this, but you would invert an Ian Maatsen into like how Zinchenko is and like Rico Lewis, and then you would forgo the attacking responsibilities of Trevor and kind of just, you know what I mean, just balance it out that way. But we don't even have a left-footed centre back, do we? So you know that comes with its own challenges as well. Of Koulibaly, you know, he's meant to be the left-sided centre back, but he's not looking like he's potentially equipped for it. Lewis Hall, some people have mentioned, is probably the closest you've got to that Zinchenko kind of look. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you could go down that route, but yeah, it's one of those things where right back Azpilicueta is just a liability at this point, and that's why I wanted him to leave last summer. I was pretty okay with Barcelona taking him, but he signed a new deal, and you know it's Azpilicueta, man. He's still capped to lead a legend, isn't he? Everybody, as soon as he tweeted he's happy to stay, everybody forgot that he's a liability to the team. They started going off. Yeah, Azpilicueta's staying. Yeah, Azpilicueta's staying. My brother. Emotion is a beautiful thing in football, and everybody forgot the last season that we just watched from Azpilicueta, and they just put it all to the side. He signed a new contract, and here we are. So I've seen Michael Delaney's last tweet about Yeah, sorry, Miguel Delaney, a little bit of Spanish with a little bit of Welsh, maybe, I don't know. Anticipating a big window, you know. Obviously, Oinstein's a little bit hesitant on the whole Mudryk thing. Badiashile seems like he's passed his medicals.
And Fabrizio said that Shakhtar are going to be at the Chelsea City game.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah. So, listen, I haven't had time to even think about whether I even really want Mudryk, but I mean, the left wing department is looking a little bit mad because Leao, I don't know if he's going to sign a new contract. What's going on? The reason why I haven't thought about it is because I want a holding midfielder and I want a right back. These are the two things I really want before anything else. So until these two things are addressed, especially, no, I can't even especially either of them. Both of them, they both need addressing just as badly as the other one. Enzo's not a DM, so I'm still not satisfied, but I'm very, very excited about Enzo. Until those two things are addressed, my brain cannot compute we don't have capacity. Capacity to take in any more information. I can just see two problems that continue to piss me off, and I'm not thinking about none of the other ones. I can't. I'm at my limit. I'm at my limit with the issues. People are asking, "Where's Matt Law?" Listen, I haven't seen Matt Law since Gary Cahill, man. He's gone.
Yeah, where is Matt Law?
That's true. Where is he? It's true.
I don't know, man. Academy right back. Abu was training with the squad. Apparently, Felix, who knows a lot about the academy and obviously has been breaking this Enzo Fernandez deal, which I haven't really been involved in terms of reporting it on this channel because I want it to be done. I have nothing more to say on Enzo Fernandez. I've done an Enzo Fernandez special with Rabona TV. I've spoken about Enzo Fernandez enough times. Until it is done, I have nothing more to say. I need him in the door now. That's it. Enough of this reporting shit. Apparently, he said Abu is really just in the squad just to do, you know, recovery and help with he just help make up the numbers. I don't think he's actually a serious candidate to play, but we'll see if he impresses in training. We're going to wrap up because I know Younes can only do it now and I've got to go places as well. And to be honest, who wants to do an extra long show when Chelsea are this bad? Do you know what I mean? I think we've spoken about everything we need to speak about. Yes, we have Man City coming up next. I think we'll all do our previews. The one thing I will say is I've spoken to, like I said, Lewis from City Extra. If you haven't checked it out, guys, it's already up on the channel. We did a little opposition analysis, but Man City fans are not confident. Man City fans are not confident. They're not.
Are they not?
No, they don't seem to be in good spirits, Man City fans, from my comment section, from what I can see. They don't seem to be optimistic about the game. They don't seem to be wanting to play us. They don't think it's a good time to play us, some of them. They just think, you know, everybody's going through it. Obviously, their problems and our problems are completely different problems, but they have their own issues. And to be honest, when I spoke to Lewis, I realized just how many issues they actually have. They're very, I mean, you guys check out the preview, do you know what I mean? But you guys will obviously, you guys will know when you do your previews about Man City, and they're very like predictable, a little bit narrow. They're struggling a bit. They haven't got the width. And are they missing Sterling? Are they missing Leroy Sané? Is Rico Lewis tucking in and Cancelo tucking in? Is it all too congested? Is it all too predictable? Where's the width? Where's the touchline? You know, chalk on your boots, Pep. Where's the runners off Haaland like Foden earlier in the season? All these things. So Bernardo Silva wants to leave. That's an issue. So we spoke about. They actually made it into quite a frenzy. Actually, you know, it sounds like they got a lot of problems. I don't think they actually know the meaning of problems.
Exactly. I was just about to say the same thing.
Only to set us up to batter us like 3-0, 4-0. This is why they're saying all this stuff. If there's one manager that you would back to get it right for City, is Pep Guardiola. He will figure it out very soon. So if we are hinging on the fact that please, Man City, again, just be predictable. Let's not bank on that.
I'm not talking nonsense. You go chat to the City fans in my comment sections. You can go tell them they're talking nonsense, because I didn't say that it's a good time to play City. I predicted a 2-1 defeat on the Big Six. They could be as predictable as they want. It's still Erling Haaland. Who's going to deal with him? Do you know what I mean? Grealish got man of the match last time we played them. Do you know what I mean? Our right back, who's going to play right back? Who's going to come up against Grealish or Foden? Listen, we got problems. I make no mistake. I am not confident. I'm just saying they seem to think that this is some sort of problem. This game.
All it's going to take is a classic delivery from KDB to slice open our defense like none other. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Haaland to walk over to that 6-yard box and tap it in, and it's done. Look, if they got problems, don't worry. Their problems will get sorted tomorrow. We'll help them.
Nobody wants to hear about Man City's problems. It's like hearing the rich tell you about their tax issues. No one wants to hear it. Shut up.
Yeah.
That's basically
Problem
what
with
this
us. We're the rich guys that are about to go bankrupt.
Their problem is not even them. Their problem is Arsenal not stopping.
Exactly.
They're just
Yeah.
winning. Like,
Yeah,
that's
it.
their problem. Now that the Arsenal, have dropped a couple of points, they'll feel hungry to ensure that they cover the ground, because what do we got to, like, what do we have to fight? Like, some of these players, as I said, I don't know whether they want to be at the football club. Potter's still trying to figure out what's going on. City, on the other hand, they know they can bridge the gap on Arsenal. There is one team who's only hungry in this particular match, and that's City. Me, I'm hoping that our team shows some grit, some fight. That's all.
No. It's very predictable, and we'll remember this. Yeah, first 5 minutes, we're gonna look electric. We're gonna be like, oh, the crowd's gonna be up for it. It's at the bridge. Oh, come on! And then one little sign of trouble, Man City go on an attack. Oh, that was close. Oh, it starts to get nervy. We go downhill from there.
And then there's the second half.
And as you said, the motivation is for us to stay in the top half of the table, whereas for City, it's to catch Arsenal for the title. So
We have a lot of players that probably know they're not going to be here next season. That's like one of the key things before we wrap up. They're not going to be here next season. They know that. They're going to be replaced because Todd Boehly's ruthless and he's clearing out the squad. So once they realize, say we got out the FA Cup this weekend, say, I don't know what's going to happen in the Champions League, but they're going to sit there and think, well, what do I actually have to play for? And then it's going to come down to personal pride. And the only players that are going to step up are the players that are going to be here next season or that actually love the club. Very few players in this pool. And this is where we're going to get to a point as a fan base where when we get to the realization where we're 100% not making Champions League. We're not at that point yet, but we're getting to the point where, it's starting to look fugazi, and it's starting to look like
10 points behind.
We're 10 points behind. We have a game in hand. Who cares? It's starting to get to that point now where it's like, okay, we have to go on a run. And it's going to get to a point where we know categorically we're not making it. We're not at that point yet. As much as everybody is giving up, I'm still trying to cling to a little bit of hope, but you're seeing me cracking on platforms outside of this one. So I am starting to falter. I am disintegrating. I am evaporating very quickly. I am trying to hold it together. But you're
in my we're going to win the league phase.
No, I'm not. No.
except for top 4.
No.
You can stay there. Trust me.
You've given up. Have you given up?
Top 4?
I've given up. I'm thinking we're 5th or 6th. I'm hoping for 5th or 6th.
I should probably give up.
United,
Liverpool, Newcastle,
Liverpool,
City, Arsenal.
Even they're gonna drop. They're not gonna drop.
It's only Tottenham right now that I think we can relate to. So I probably should let it go, but I just can't fathom letting go of a Premier League season on January the 4th. So I'm going to give it to February. And then I'm going to go from there. So
I'm going to give another 4 weeks.
I'm going to give it another 4 weeks because I can't say the season's over in January. That's just nuts. I don't.
By then, Reece James is back, Matisse. So good. That's good thinking.
Yes,
very good thinking.
Exactly. And the transfer window is over, so maybe we've bought Messi or Mbappe. You never know with Todd Boehly. Things can change quickly. But yeah, Miz, let them know where to find you, bro. Absolutely stellar episode.
Yeah, no, it's been fantastic. Like always, the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen, very, very close to 20,000 subscribers. So get there quick. And 2 bits of content every day, 1 live stream in the morning, 1 sort of wrap up at the evening. I won't probably do a preview today. I'll probably do it tomorrow. I know it's match day tomorrow, but I'll probably just do the preview because I'm really not looking forward to the preview. So I'm not like, I'm so buzzing to do this preview.
You don't want to do a combined 11?
Who's starting like in a combined 11 from Chelsea? Who is actually getting an opportunity in that team? It's
probably Silva, and that's it.
Combined 11 will be
I'm
tough.
not even sure. Sometimes Silva looks a bit dodgy as well.
Yeah, but their defense is dodged, so I just play it off.
Combined 11, Jorginho walks right in. Come on.
Ahead of Rodri. Yeah, I think so. I'll do that. I'll take that.
I think so.
Aspilicueta probably starts. I don't know. I'm not really sure about that. Luis Rico guy. I don't think he's that good. Yeah, that good.
Mount gets ahead of KDB. all day long. And I think Havertz ahead of Haaland.
KDB's a fraud.
Mount ahead of KDB should not even be a conversation, Younes. Go wash your mouth out, bro. Come on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have. Yeah, man.
You know, Younes, I'm not sure if you've got the minerals. I'm not sure.
I might not, you know. I might not.
I've got the vitamins. I'm waiting for my minerals badge, but I've got the vitamins.
I'm sure if you
minerals
check
will
the
come tomorrow
stats,
after the City game's done.
for all the people that does the stat checks, I'm sure Mason Mount is ahead in key passes in regards to KDB. I'm very sure.
And
And for me, that's more than enough for him
and
to start ahead of
expected
KDB.
runs. And expected runs.
No,
Yes.
let's have it right. Let's have it right. Yeah, Kai Havertz would walk into that Man City team. Let's have it right. Younes, let them know where to find you.
By the way, just before we go, I have to say I saw this stat yesterday and I couldn't believe it. But our highest goal scorer is Sterling on 6 in I think it's 1,500 minutes, which works out to a goal every 3 games. So
Wow.
sorry to end it that way, but yeah, you can find me Younes
Wow.
Havertz and Aubameyang are on the same sort of wavelength as well. But yeah, you'll find me on my preview later on. I think I'm gonna be talking with Thabz on his channel as well. So he's gonna get a Chelsea perspective from a City point of view. That's gonna be on his channel later. And then tomorrow is the review after it's all said and done, which is gonna be tasty because right now it's going one way. So yeah.
Guys, I was gonna say enjoy, but there's nothing. So in the chat, just do what you're doing. Go for walks, eat your vegetables and your fruits, and take care of yourselves. All right, because it's a long week.
after tomorrow's done, that blue light's got to go back to red. I want to see the candle and everything out again.
Yeah, I want to see the hell realm. Do you know what I mean? I want to see. Matisse
We're going
in
back to
hell
back. We're going back to back on the weekend. Don't worry, we're going back to back. In a bit, people. Peace.